Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am Dwania Peele. I'm the founder of Canadian Small Businesswoman.
And I'm Brooke Gordon. And this is the unofficial review of the CEO Club on Prime Video.
Every episode, we are breaking down the real leadership moments, the tough decisions, the wins, and the misses.
And most importantly, the lessons every entrepreneur should be paying attention to.
So, we're not just here for surface level commentary. There's going to be a little of that, but we're not just here for that.
We are here for the strategy, the mindset, and the CEO level perspective.
So, if you've watched the episode, or even if you haven't, stay with us because we are about to unpack what really happened.
Dwania, my friend, let's get into it.
Well, wait, before we get into it though, everyone, make sure you like the video, subscribe to this channel, share this video with a friend, and you can even hit the notification so that when we have a new review coming out, you get the notification. We want you to be a part of the community. And we're going to ask you for ratings of the episode too. So drop that all in the comments. Let us dive into episode 2 of the CEO project.
Okay, I'm going to start off and ask you the question. This one was called Built for the Fire. Did you find the reference in the episode?
Oh my gosh, I watched this episode twice. Did I find the episode of Built for the Fire? I don't remember. Oh my gosh, Brooke. I'm on the spot.
The first one was like so like I even wrote down the quote and I'm like, oh yes, right? It's the pressure is a privilege. And in fact, at some point in this, that quote comes back in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, built for the fire. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Didn't quite.
It could have been said by anyone because I'm thinking, was it Hannah who said it? I'm not sure.
I was listening for it and I did not catch it. I was actually hoping you did.
Well, we failed. If someone caught it, let us know who said it. Who said built for the fire, or who referenced something that made them feel like they were built for the fire?
I love that. Because in this episode, we come back, we meet Lauren again, and we really actually get our first chance to meet Talia. And I love that they met through a mutual friend on Instagram.
Because that's how we met on Instagram.
I know, through a mutual friend, right? Claudine. And I love it so much. And so that, I know I wrote that down as well. And because I was taking notes and I'm like, oh, just like us. Yeah. Very real. And they open, they're talking about growth. They're talking about pivoting. And they're talking about how hard it is to be your own cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've had someone who was there as like your hype club. And in Lauren's case, it was her husband. In Talia's case, it was her mom. And she says this beautiful expression. Talia says, it takes ovaries every day.
Yes, I remember. I love the fact too that she like got up and was jumping up, going like, we have to cheer ourselves on. Like she brought a good burst of energy on the screen. It was really good for her to be introduced this way because it's the whole grief that Lauren is holding and then Talia's like lifting her up.
Yes. And I think there's a couple of things in there that I thought was really like you sort of come into this very vulnerable moment and you start hearing her inner monologue, Lauren's inner monologue of how hard she is on herself, how hard she's struggling to get used to being vulnerable because she's always been seeing like her mental image of herself was the rock, right? And everyone like leaned into her, but she was leaning on her husband to be able to have that sort of strength to be able to do all of that. And now you hear this woman and she's like beating herself up and she's over analyzing things and her narrative is harsh. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And I was actually shocked. I was really shocked.
Yeah, it was shocking. But again, it's going to lead me to, we are really following a deep story
Mhm.
about Lauren. And that's
Mhm.
what I feel we're going to see most of throughout the 8 episodes, I believe it is, for
Mhm.
this series.
I think so.
I feel like we might have gone in thinking it's going to be equal stories about all the ladies, or might have gone in thinking it was a Serena story. But I really do feel Serena is the thread, but a lot of the story is probably going to be around Lauren.
And I also love that even though, like, this is unscripted
Mhm.
show as we are, but I also really love that you see these two in this deeply vulnerable moment, and then you also see them show up later for their friend's event, and we'll get into that in a bit. But they talk about how we are friends and we're women and we're proud of each other. And as I was listening to this, I actually was like, oh, I thought of you, Dwania, because this is one of the things that I value so much about our friendship, is that you and I are both building out something incredible, and there are times when we get to build it together, and there are
Mhm.
times when we're building independently and just simply, like, just celebrating each other
Yeah.
on what that looks like. And so that for me was one of the moments when I felt really connected to this episode, was the depth of the friendships and the openness that they have, and how blessed I felt in watching this. It just gave me a lot of gratitude and reflection.
Yeah. If you didn't watch episode 1, I did start by asking how we, as like the not as affluent entrepreneurs, can relate to these ladies. And it is in moments like these that we can see ourselves in them. We can see how we show up for each other, and we can still pull from some of the challenges that they've had. I mean, if they're having a $10 million challenge, that could be equivalent to a $10,000 challenge for us, right? But it's still a challenge nonetheless. So it was really good to see those two together, and also to get more glimpses of Lauren's fantastic home.
I know, right? Because this one bounces between her New York apartment
Yes.
and her beautiful country home.
Yeah. I think, was it
Boat in Connecticut.
in Connecticut? And then, yes. And then the yacht in Miami, I think. Yes. Whew.
I know.
That's life. And then we get to meet Dee.
Mm-hmm. So many things I love about Dee's story.
Yeah, yeah. It was very interesting to me to see the Aleppo Hilfiger. If you are a Tommy Hilfiger, like I wear some Tommy Hilfiger back in like my high school, college, because like really good polo shirts, really good polo shirts. But we're not talking about him. We're talking about D. He does obviously make appearances because they're a married couple, and they have is it a 15-year-old son, or is it a
So he's a young teenager for sure.
yes, 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 who's on the spectrum. And Dee talks about her starting her career really in her 50s,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. So she says she's been building this brand for about 11 years, and she's turning 59 this year. So that put her at like 48, 49. And so I just loved that, because she keeps leaning back into that. So you can tell that this is part of her purpose and passion, like part of her key messaging that she wants to lean into. Last episode, we talked about how it was around what does a beauty brand mean, right? So not sacrificing your health. It can also look like being active and beautiful with Serena and with Winnie. And so here you hear Dee start talking about the generational knowledge. How do I stay relevant? What does it look like? I'm not 20 anymore. She starts talking, like, there's so much more in there, but I really appreciated how she starts to reveal to us the questions that she asks herself of
Yeah.
how can I do this better. I have anxiety and I'm afraid of failure. And then she says this like powerful statement of how I always feel like I'm building the momentum, but that she talks about how she hasn't gotten there yet. And this is 11 years
Yes.
in, with the resources and the brand of her husband beside her to build this.
But that led me to the question, though, what is there for her? Because is she comparing her success to her husband's success?
Mm.
Because if I'm looking at her, She has the TheCEOClub shoes, which look fabulous. She's
Mhm.
a part owner of Judith Lieber.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to understand what she's comparing herself to.
Yeah. But also some things that also stood out and I thought was really interesting. She talks about how she had felt in the past like a plus one as a wife.
Mm,
And that
mhm,
now that she has her own brand, she doesn't feel like the wife of Tommy Hilfiger. She has her own identity, her own purpose, and I thought that
mhm.
was really important. And then watching her see her installation in real life and the giddiness and the, "Oh, that's like my thing," and this level of excitement, and to see that even at that level, that doesn't go away. We saw that with Isabella last episode, and we see it again with Dee in this episode, and I loved that.
Yeah, and I what I really did love about the installation was how it was done, where it was done, because it was
Mhm.
Stockyards, and that is a really cool location.
Mhm.
But also, it wasn't your typical what you would expect for an installation. I don't know if I'm going to the end of the episode with this, with the whole party, but it wasn't what you would expect. It was really well put together, but it wasn't just about her. It had other entrepreneurs. It was like a closet with different sections, which I did love. And they also had the virtual closet. And, but I don't want to talk too much about the party because that's where everyone comes together at the end. But it was really good to see the relationship. I did take note of something.
Tell
Call
me.
me shady if you must, but I was looking at the jets and I was like, Lauren, they didn't show the full jet because it's probably like, you can do jet rentals. Tommy, they showed the entire jet with your logo on it. That is yours. Like, okay.
So I noticed it in you're right. When Lauren flies, you can tell she and her right hand, they have a seat on a private jet, which is very different than the wide angle where they're working, and you can tell it's more like a lounge as opposed to like seats.
Hmm.
And what I really noticed, you and I talked about team and what it looks like when you have your team with you. So their publicist is flying with them.
Yes.
And she's got pictures of everyone that they need to meet so that they recognize them in real time.
Yeah.
And it stood out for two things. Like, how many times have you and I said, when you go to a networking group, make sure that before you go to the event, you find out if there's a list of who's going to be there, or put it out on social to find out. And then afterwards, like, do your follow-ups. And here they are in a completely different way. There's bios, there's photos. They've got a team who've put this together. But then I was thinking the mental acuity that Dee has to have memorized those pages of photos and like study them when she's clearly exhausted on the plane because she spent so much mental effort preparing for her son and
Yep.
preparing for them to be here. And then now she's like, I just want to sleep on the plane. And yet
I'm
that's
working.
an option. I'm working, and she has to like pull herself back. And I'm thinking she's memorizing all of those pieces of paper.
And it's also reminded me of The Devil Wears Prada because like her publicist will be there to whisper if there's someone she needs to remember.
Yeah, so she's not fully expected to remember all of it, but she's a pretty good idea, and she's
Mhm.
gonna get prompted, but she's not being briefed in real time, she's being prompted in real time, so
Yes,
she needs to know.
yes. So
Mhm.
that's the lesson we take away when you're going somewhere. A lot of times too, if you're going to an event that has an app, you download the app, the folks who are going to be there on the app, you get to see who they are, their bios, their photos, and
Mhm.
make a note of who you want to meet.
Right? And, post that you're gonna be there because, Dwania, how many events have you gone to where you post the pictures after the event and someone else is like, "Oh my gosh, you were there? I was there, and we could have met in," like, especially the friends on Instagram, you know who I'm talking about, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we could have met in real life," and
Mhm.
missed. So I now broadcast when I'm going to things because
Yes.
I'm just gonna make the most of it.
Most definitely, because also it's easier when people want to meet you instead of you having to go find them. That's
Mhm.
so post about it. It might be the lazy way to do it, but it works sometimes, believe me.
totally get that.
Yeah.
The other thing is I found it really interesting in this episode. There's really only there's two events, and half the crew is at sort of one event and half the crew's at the other.
Yes, because one is in Miami and one's in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We also got to meet Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe Hannah might be the youngest one on the cast.
I think so.
Yes. I have seen Hannah around before with something else, but I still can't put my finger on it. But what made my mouth drop was I did not realize that her grandfather started Seagram's.
Mm-hmm.
That is like a line of wealth.
So she's the heiress in this, and one of the things I found really interesting, as we're sort of looking at last time, if you're just joining us, last time we had a bit of a chat about the bios of everyone, and Hannah is intergenerational wealth. Isabella talks about how she's built up her brand, but she's also married to someone who's very successful. And Dee was a wife before she talks about being a stay-at-home mom and a wife before she starts building out her brand. And so there's sort of this, like, I'm gonna use a lack of a better term, this family money behind.
Well, yeah, it's the truth.
And then you compare that to Winnie and Lauren and Talia and Serena, who have literally built their wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And yet their stories aren't that different.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They can relate to each other on the same level. I mean, Serena talked about raising funds for her VC. And yes, it would have been easier for her because she's more known. And we now see the story of Hannah trying to raise funds for her VC. Now, could she tap into her Seagram's situation? Yes. But she said she has been living independently since she graduated college. Like, it's been her living off of the money that she has made.
Yep. I heard that too.
Yeah, yeah. And it was really good. It made me smile to see a Black woman doing that and building, wanting to manage VC to fund others. So, like Serena is doing it, but it was nice to see Hannah do it too. But it's nice to see how she's trying to grind to raise that money. We did end up we met her business partner.
Yep.
I forgot her name. You might have it in a note. And if Brooke doesn't have it in a note, someone please drop it in the comments. We got to see them meet at a coffee shop like the rest of us would meet. Right? Yep. They weren't meeting in a huge office in the sky.
No, it was a little Italian bakery.
Yeah. They just met up.
And I think there's a couple things about that were really interesting. They get a commitment on camera and then later nothing comes of it. And she's like, listen, a no is a no and it's okay, but just close the loop. Like, how many of us are asking for the no? Like, it's okay to be no, but like, don't just like leave me wondering and following up and wasting my time with you. Just say no.
Can I tell you, that is one of the things as an entrepreneur that grinds my gears. No matter how small the favor is that you're asking, if you're asking someone to share your event, if you're asking someone to attend your event, if you're asking someone to reach out to someone on your behalf, like any little thing, if I'm asking and you say yes, I expect you to follow through.
Do it.
But when you tell me yes and you don't follow through, you don't even understand how badly you're on my hit list. I cannot stand that, because be a person of your word. If I'm unable to do something, I'm going to tell you I'm unable. If I am not sure if I'm going to be able to do it, I'll go, you know what, I will try, but I'm not sure. Please I will try. If it's a no, it's a flat out no. But I cannot stand when people make promises that they can't keep.
Okay, I literally had this conversation yesterday, and my approach, so the woman I was talking to was like super enthusiastic about a conversation and had said yes, and it was now in regret and trying to figure out how to back out of it, which is different from the response that I have, which is, sometimes, and if you've ever heard this from me, now thank you for thinking of me. I'm going to take this away. I'm not going to say yes or no now, but let me take it away. And why am I taking it away? Because I need to look at my schedule. I need to think about how much effort you're really asking me to make.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, like, in this moment, I'm with you and I'm present with you, which means I'm not thinking about all the other commitments that I have on my plate. I've set those aside and compartmentalized to be with you. And now I need to go back and reflect on them. And so I don't really want to commit. Like when you told me about this, I don't even think I said yes to you right away. I think I said, can I get back to you?
You said it was a good idea. And you like, oh, this sounds good. Let me think about this. See, I like that.
Yeah, I'm interested. I just don't know if I can commit, and I'm going to get back to you. And I think that space separation is a wonderful tactic that we don't lean into. And you haven't said yes. You haven't necessarily said no, but you haven't said yes. And that's okay. It's the getting to a yes. And what I think really upset Hannah is he said, let me write you a check right now, and then didn't.
And he was probably putting on for the camera, but why did you have to? You didn't have to put on for the camera. Because if he had just left it with a conversation, because he halfway insulted her too. Let me get into this. When I met you, I thought you were just an influencer. And I know when he said that, I was like,
Did you notice the camera angles change?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did the producers. That's why it's in there. They were irritated.
And he could have like continued that part of the conversation, but he did not have to do the, let me write my check right now. and not write the check.
And then not write the check. Yeah.
I'm hoping that in like episode 3, he says, I was very sick, so here's the money now, because I'm not accepting anything else. You had to be close to your deathbed, sir.
And if not, wow, did they throw him under the bus? And good for them.
I know. And people will see him coming next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the things that I loved. Then we talked about Serena being sort of the glue and how she and Hannah met because she photobombed Hannah.
I absolutely love that. Because I do love photobombing people, especially at concerts. I'm really good at it. Anyone who's watching this and you've been to a lot of concerts pre that pandy time that we don't want to talk about, if ever you are walking out and you're taking pictures, I'm usually behind you like, I'm in your photo.
And I love that there's a silliness. Like she met through being vulnerable in the sense of being like silly and fun and just like finding this way to bond. And then she, make no mistake, she knew who she was. And now you've got 2 investors who have finally met.
Yes. And that also brings us to Serena's event.
Oh, before we go there, just quickly, because you and I have talked about boundaries, right? So back to Serena when she said, I didn't have boundaries before I had kids. And now it's like, yes, if it fits in my schedule. So she makes this like, that's her, I have to check my schedule before I commit. Hannah talks about the fact that with her kids, she mostly works in the evenings.
Yes.
And when she walks in with her business partner, she's like, oh, and I was like listening to their voicemail. And she's like, when do you have time to listen to voicemails? And she's like, well, I'm brushing my teeth, as if that's like normal. Like, you can tell she's like always working. And then she's talking with her business partner about, oh yeah, I can do all those follow-ups. I have a free day tomorrow. And I was like, you don't have a free day. You have a day without meetings to get work done. And you call it a free day because it's not as scheduled, but it is. It's just that the things are scheduled by priority list of phone calls or follow-ups. It's not, I need to be made up and be here in this meeting. And that really stood out for me.
Yeah, same. But then it also led me to the end of the episode when her husband said to her, why can you not hand off some of these calls to your business partner so that you can work on other things? And for her, she's like, if they're my relationships, I need to be the one to nurture them. I can understand her on one end, But on the other end, if it's you and your business partner, the relationship should be with the three of you now.
As a
So your business partner should also be massaging that relationship.
I found that very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The event. Before we get to the event, Serena has a beautiful farm in Florida. We've been talking about properties. Oh, and her team comes to her. So we're back there, the team's back. And when is makeup? I love this. When is makeup made to move in? Such a beautiful line. And she's like, more of this. And what really stood out for me is that she's planning this event. You really think so. They're talking to Meta. And for you and I, we have access to Meta's business tools, and she has access to like event people and partners. And this is you start to wonder, like, what are the doors that they have? Like, what is the privilege or the access that they have that we don't? And she names it. She describes it openly.
Yeah. Because when I heard that, you're like, oh yeah, Meta wants us to do, wants to do this. And she's like, no, but let's have them do this instead. And the fact that you can just boss up and go, no, I'm glad that that's what you want us to do, but that's not what we're going to do. But you're still going to partner with us though. Wink.
Yeah. And I love that the event is called Holding Court with Serena. And she has a Pilates class. And she's like, no, I didn't want to actually do the workout. I'm just here for the cool down. And shows up.
Her outfit was, whoo.
It reminded me of her tennis outfits with
yes, it was so beautiful. Everything about that branding. And I need that quote on my mirror. Winning looks good on you. I love it.
Okay, the other one, because we talked last time about health, right? You are only as good as how well you recover.
Yes.
Oh, she's like, my coaches just kept telling me that. And I was like, okay, you've brought this off the court and into every day. I loved that.
Yeah. And you got to see the camaraderie at this event because Hannah was the one who was interviewing Serena and another lady. And you got to see Tiffany Haddish showed up at the event. So I think they're both Compton girls. So it was a really good connection. She flew in to support her. Who else did we see?
Winnie shows up.
Yes, Winnie was there as well. So that was really, really good. And again, they both talked about the fact that they're friends who might not see each other all the time, but they pick up exactly where they left off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things that I thought really helped to start frame this whole series in that event. And one of them is when Hannah talks about the photobombing, and then she's like, Serena is a community builder.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, she really is the thread. And in that moment, I start to realize that so far we've only seen them in 2s and 3s. We've not seen a large group yet. They travel in pairs, maybe a bit, or 2 of them showing up to someone else's event. And it's really about the intimacy of the friendships when you're alone at the top as a CEO.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. And again, I have to go back to Winnie. You saw her hyping Serena up. I feel like she hypes her friends up. Really, because she's like, oh, I saw you in that cover and this. I'm like, okay, Winnie.
She pays attention.
Yes.
Right? How busy she is, and she pays attention. The other piece I love, Serena is talking about like what self-care looks like. And she's like, okay, well, I run 4 times a week and I just love going to get my nails done. And, it's clear that in that moment, she can't be disturbed. And that's precious time.
Relate. That's the moment I feel like I just sit there and someone's taking care of me.
Yes, which she's a mom and she's running multiple businesses, and it's so refreshing. And then you start hearing her talk about her inner monologue narrative and how she doesn't want to be one of the companies that didn't make it.
Yes. And that's a fear that all of us have.
Yeah.
Right? You always hear the stats about how often entrepreneurs fail. And you don't want to be in that. And, a lot of times I can tell you personally, if I'm being vulnerable, there are times where I sit down and I'm like, why do I even bother doing this? Because it can get overwhelming. Now, aside from when I see the faces of people who I know I've supported, or I read the feedback, or I get the thanks, I also think that I'd fail myself. And I cannot handle failure very well. So, no. So I keep going, partially because I don't know what I would do with myself if I didn't, because I failed my first test when I was in the ninth grade, and I still remember it. It was social studies, and I cried. I am not good at it.
It's funny. I was in grade 10 and I don't think I failed. I just didn't get a B.
No. I straight up failed because I just moved from Jamaica
Ooh.
to the US, and I don't know American social studies. So I failed.
I get you on that entirely. And I think you're raising some really important points that we're seeing. Here's these women, and we're talking in some ways about like this. I'm gonna say like they are. You talk about the 1%. They're up in that echelon, right?
Yeah.
And yet some of the challenges that they have, some of what drives them is this harsh inner narrative. But also, I think that Serena, she's the executive producer, and I think she's trying to show how important it is to have strong female relationships
Yeah.
as you grow, because those are the things that are going to carry you.
Yeah. And in our everyday lives, that is what is carrying us. Like, we have to support each other
Mhm.
because we operate differently than the men. And because we understand each other and how we operate and the challenges that we face that are different than theirs, it's important that we're there to, build each other up.
Totally agree.
Mhm. So, what's the next thing that comes into play? So, we saw Serena's event,
Hmm. Those
and
were the
then,
two main events in this one. It sort
yeah,
of, yeah. And then Dee's events. So we have Talia and Lauren show up for Dee's event, and that was the closet that we were like the showcase.
yes,
And
yes.
lovely that is that here she is, she's so excited, and then clearly two of her close girlfriends have shown up to this event with the express intention of being there to applaud her and hug her and make sure that she feels grounded in a way, right? Stable in this time where she's like, oh, she's got a publicist tapping her on the shoulder. You talk to her, you talk to this person, you talk to that person. And instead she has this moment. And she actually at one point does talk about it and how beautiful it is for her. She talks about how important her girlfriends are.
Mhm.
And I just loved that. Like, I've gone from feeling like a plus one as a wife to having an identity and purpose. And, she starts talking about this anxiety, and then she starts talking about how important her friendships are.
And then you also got to see that her husband was her plus one this time around.
Which was lovely.
Yeah,
Really lovely. Yeah.
yeah.
And
And that
he's
is
like
often,
asking, it'll make sense when you watch the episode, but he's like, did you see my wife's boobs? And like,
yes.
sure that like other people are noticing the things that are important to her. Because she's
Yes,
a lot of installations, or a lot of pieces in the installation, and that's a piece that's important to her, and that's the piece that he's been talking about because he was listening and paid attention.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we really got to learn more about two women, and we got to learn a little bit more about Winnie as well.
Oh my gosh, we didn't talk about the most important thing, Lauren.
Oh, yes, we didn't. Lauren, we're sorry. We didn't mean to. We
So
didn't mean to. I mean, you had a heavy situation in episode 1. We didn't mean to. Okay. Lauren,
mm-hmm,
Market America.
mm-hmm.
That's me, baseball. Knocked it out the park.
And then some. She manages to be the inspirational speaker she needed to be. She is the voice of the CEO. She
Mhm.
says very powerful things
Yes.
about how I'm going to grow and you're going to grow and we are going to grow together.
Yes.
She talks about the horizon, what's available on the horizon for the company, what's available on the horizon for you. And And then you see her later showing up for Dee's event, and this piece around the showing up, and it's clear she didn't make it to the event the year before. And so here she is, and I don't even think they hosted an event the year
The year
before.
before, yeah.
I think they put it on pause, and then here she is, and she's like, I didn't know if you would come.
Oh,
And she does it. She does it with a lot of Kleenex, and I'm like getting teary just thinking about it, but she does it.
yes. And the fact that you kept seeing the vision that they saw on the stage was her husband behind her, and yes. And then her brother was on stage with her. Is
Oh,
that, yes,
is that
that's, that's
okay?
her brother.
Oh,
And he
lovely.
was the one who introed her,
Yeah,
and her daughter and her grandkids were in the audience.
yeah.
So it was a really good family affair, and you could see that the entire crowd rallied behind her.
And I think she had, it was intentional and not intentional. She went in wanting to be strong, and I
Mhm.
think she did a beautiful job of showing the people, I am brokenhearted and I'm going to cry tears in front of you, but I am not broken. The company's not broken, and we're still going to keep going, grow with you, but also I'm, surrounded by my family in order to cope in this moment. And I think there's a way we talk about this relation. She did it so beautifully. Like for everyone in that audience was in a way an entrepreneur and their families, and she was literally modeling for them what it can look like to be both.
Yeah, yeah. And because they're all looking to her for direction, and she was able to provide some certainty,
Mhm.
but also let them know I'm still not 100% sure, but know that we're going through this together.
Mhm. Oh, it was lovely.
Mhm.
It was so lovely.
It was. It was. Good job, Lauren. I hope you watched this. I didn't mean to forget you.
We
Yeah,
were thinking about her showing up to the events. We're like, wait, she had her own.
she got her own. Big moments, big moment. The biggest event of all of them, really.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It was great. So now we got to rate the episode, Brooke. We got to rate the episode. While Brooke thinks about her episode rating, please make sure you rate the episode out of 10 in the comments. Let us know how you feel about the episode. Let us know if you agree with some of the stuff we said. But Brooke, what's your rating?
Cool. Okay, so for this one last time, episode 1, just a recap, I gave it an 8.5 because I thought it was like a good solid B+, but not quite an A+. This time, because I really appreciated the way they started to weave the stories together, that I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
I loved it. Yeah, it made me cry. I can't help it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, this one made me cry.
Well, in all fairness, I watched this episode twice.
Mm.
So I am probably I'm gonna do a 9 out of 10 as well, because I watched it twice because I felt like there were just so many bits and pieces, and I really enjoyed I enjoyed the storytelling. I really enjoyed getting to know these women. And I felt in some way, strangely enough, I felt like I had one episode on Hannah and one episode on Dee and one episode on Lauren, all in one episode. It
Yeah,
really felt like it packed a punch.
it's why I think we almost forgot that Lauren actually did her event because we
Yeah.
were so caught up in the fact that we had seen her at another event and we knew she was going to an event, and they did a beautiful job. It didn't feel choppy. It didn't feel
Mhm.
like jumping from scene to scene. It felt like even though it was out of sequence, they managed to bring it through. It was very well produced. I was really happy with the way that the storylines flowed. And I found in this one, I'm starting to see how each of them has their own, and how often do we talk about niche messaging, and each
Mhm.
one of them has their passion, purpose messaging, and it was starting to come through much more clearly in this one.
Yes, yes. You are definitely seeing their storylines, and I'm excited to see the path that we go down with each of them. We still need to get the packages for Talia and for Winnie. And I
Mhm.
do believe that's happening in episode 3, because I'm very excited as well to see a little bit about my fellow Jamaican, she's Jamaican Canadian, Winnie. And she does a lot for Jamaica. She was doing a lot for hurricane relief. So I'm very interested. And because I've known about Talia for a while, I am quite interested to hear her story. So we will be back for episode 3. So Brooke, anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, my dear, I have really enjoyed how these pieces are starting to pull out. So I just want to name that because I know how often do we work on this, but I really enjoying seeing how the pieces are coming out.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm also, I might have to rewatch to find out who is built for the fire. And I feel like at the beginning I said, oh, maybe it was Hannah, but no, it was probably Lauren.
Might have been, might have been.
It's probably Lauren who said she was built for the fire.
I gotta say, I have loved our take on this episode of the CEO Club.
So now we want to hear from you. What do you think? Did you agree? Did you disagree with what we said? We're okay if you disagree. It's fine. What would you have done differently?
Be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments because we really do read them.
Yes, and we will be responding to them too. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so that you don't miss the next episode of our official review.
And because we know that the boardroom conversations don't stop when the camera's cut.
Yes. So we are going to see you on the next episode. Bye.